a job next week. I'll have money coming in and I'll be able to pay it. You can't stop the milk. I need the milk. I'm pregnant.
Oh, don't look at me, love. I might be a milkman, but it's got nothing to do with me. You've been told, no money, no milk.
I play Mrs. Johnston, and she has 7 children, and she gets the news that she's pregnant with 1 more, which actually turns out to be 2 more, so she's unexpectedly having twins, and she can't afford to keep both of them.
Hey, Mama, I'm starving, and there's nothing in there. Never bloody well is.
When she realizes that she's actually pregnant with twins, she realizes that she can't afford to keep both. She's working for a woman who is unable to have kids, so she concocts a plan to take one of the twins so that the Mrs. Johnson can afford to have her kids, and then she, you know, gets a kid as well. So I'm the kid that Mrs. Johnson keeps, and Graham, who plays Eddie, is the one that is given away. He's adopted into a wealthy family, and I'm the youngest of 7 siblings, so in a sense, I'm the one who got the raw end of the deal.
I compare this one a lot to Les Mis because it's got a lot of the same characteristics. It's incredibly depressing if you take it that way, but it's also incredibly moving. It's like an amazing tearjerker, and in that way, it's kind of a cathartic show. It's also a surprising show to do in summer theater because it really is so incredibly sad. Don't tell these people because they'll want their money back.
It's a dark story, but there's a lot of, it's very humorous, and it kind of like, it starts off pretty dark, but then it lightens up a little bit, and then kind of the end is where it all kind of like hits you.
I mean, the show's about a lot about class struggle, which is still much more commonly a problem in the United Kingdom. But even here, you know, I think that the sort of story of the frustration of poverty is totally universal, where people are fighting to sort of claw their way out and sort of keep getting sort of pushed back by, you know, all of the things that get in the way.
Try to get some sleep. Next week I'll be earning. We'll have loads of things to eat.
This is a long process. It starts with sort of meeting and hiring the production team, that is the director, the musical director, the designers, the stage managers, and that sort of thing. And then we go into the casting process where we search around through Canada for actors and gradually narrow them down. Until about March we had our cast and we had pretty much everything in place. And then of course there's the big job for me, because I'm the music director, of arranging the orchestra. So I had to decide which musicians I wanted to have, and I like to have local musicians, so we have all musicians from Kingston and Gananoque. It's a strange orchestra, this one, because it's not your typical orchestra. It's all electronic, like the drum set's an electronic drum set. There's two sets of keyboards. I'm playing 2, and Scott Davey, our second keyboard player, is playing 1 keyboard, but a huge one. And then we have 1 live trumpet player, and we have a guitarist, an amazing child prodigy, 17-year-old Paul Barton, playing guitar for our show.
Well, I think one of the unique things about this show is that it's not built like a lot of musicals are. Willie Russell wrote it originally as a play and then added music afterwards, and so his sensibility and how he approached writing it as a musical is much different from how a lot of writers would, where he's less concerned with variety in the score and much more concerned with really reinforcing thematic elements. That's why there's so much repetition of specific songs, and as an audience member, you don't notice, you're not consciously aware of that repetition, but what it does is it subconsciously sort of works and sort of reinforcing the major themes of the play. So it ends up working very much to the play's advantage.
You know what?
The bottom line is the show is actually incredibly emotional, and it's for that reason it's been really successful. It's the longest running show in the West End ever. It's been running since 1983 when it was written, and it's still running today. So obviously something's working really well, and people here seem to like it.
It's so big, and finding it rather large at present.
Oh yeah, with Mr. Lyons being away and that. When does he get back, Mrs. Lyons?
Oh, it seems such a long time. The company sent him out there for 9.
What's special about the area, it's one of those things. I actually have a particular spot in Gananoque. There's a little bridge that goes across the water just by the Gananoque Inn, that it's got this amazing quality where if I just look at the water, it suddenly calms me down. And there's something about this particular stretch of the St. Lawrence River and the Thousand Islands that is so, I don't know, it just gives you a sense of goodness. We have an area where the actors live called the compound, and it's right on the water as well. And of course, they kind of come and they can't believe where they're living. It's so, it's so beautiful, and most of them are from downtown Toronto, so they kind of go through this period of, what am I doing here? And they don't understand. But nobody wants to leave at the end of the show, so.